Guess what, gamers? It's Halo time again. Maybe they fixed all the show's problems with this next episode. We start with Garblemouth doing his usual thing.
Had a little late night supper here.
Then we transition to John Cheeks, as everything starts exploding. Perez wants to find her family, but John Cheeks stops her because he insists that they are all dead, and that there is no use in even trying to search for them. Mind you, these two were in a church when the bombing started, so he definitely doesn't know for sure.
I need to get to my family!
Corporal! They're gone.
We saw them eat dinner and be quirky, and now they are exploded. Isn't that so sad? After the intro, we see Pirate Spartan and Halsey have a useless chat.
I don't know what to say.
Then the power goes out from the explosions, leaving these two free to just walk out. No guards, no iron bars, nothing. They can just go. What a genius design for a prison. They got all these fancy lasers and holograms, but a pile of bricks would have been more sufficient. We rejoin Perez as she has a mental breakdown over losing her family, but John Cheeks is like, I don't give a shit, let's go. Then Perez starts screaming wildly at these pedestrians because they somehow don't realize that the planet is being invaded.
Get out of here! It's not safe! You gotta leave! Come on! You need to get out of here! You need to get out of here!
Then, whoopsie, some stealth elites appear and just start yeeting people into the air. John Cheeks goes to fight one, but without his power armor, it will be tough. You know who wouldn't be caught in a situation like this? Master Chief. John Cheeks is getting beaten pretty badly until Perez steps in to bail him out. I'll be nice for a moment though and say that this fight scene wasn't too bad, all things considered. Halsey and Pirate wander through these red halls.
Shit.
Then we watch John Cheeks wait for Perez to go first, just so he could cut her off and leap past her. Perez then states that John Cheeks is remarkably composed during these stressful situations. I guess the writers forgot that she herself is meant to be a Marine, but whatever. They established the lore that John Cheeks is lucky.
But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Luck.
They changed so much about this character, but at least they kept that part intact. Only they make it weird, because they imply that it isn't actually luck, but instead, it's that he has some mysterious dormant power that causes his luck.
Lucky.
Maybe. I wasn't guessing. I knew.
By the way, my dudes, people are dying. Now is not the time for exposition. They then stumble into a quirky old woman's thrift shop and help her clean. Again, people are dying, but the savior of humanity is just gonna help tidy up a bit.
Oh, be useful, the typewriter, up there.
Then he will sit there and listen to this old lady lecture him about how important her trinkets are.
If you could please hurry the fuck up, it would be greatly appreciated.
We rejoin Halsey and Pirate Dude as they wander through the halls some more. Halsey tries to make small talk about Pirate Dude's son.
What's Kessler like? How old is he? He must be 9 or 10. I bet he worships you.
And if you haven't realized it already, this woman, like most characters in this show, is Dr. Halsey in name only. Halsey is meant to be a no-nonsense, morally ambiguous hard-ass of an old woman. Instead of saying, "So, how are the kids?" she should be saying, "Shut up and do what I tell you." After they have an extended conversation about their personal beef, we rejoin Cheeks as he crawls around with Perez. If this dude wanted to, he could leap to where he wants to go in seconds. But for some reason he keeps dragging this woman around with him, who clearly doesn't want to be there, and they keep stopping to have a chat every 5 steps. Eventually they stumble into Riz, and John Cheeks says this.
You ruined it. You ruined it and I'm leaving.
One of the best lines in the game, and you stripped it of everything that made it cool.
Master Chief, defend this station.
Yes, sir. I need a weapon.
Right this way.
How dare you stand where he stood?
By the way, they gave a grenade launcher to the blind man.
I hear you. You make that noise, I'll find your ass.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
They could have made anything, but they chose to make this. Battle rifles don't shoot like that.
That was dumb.
We then follow this crew into a building, while elites just charge into their gunfire like mindless zombies. These creatures are supposed to be intelligent, and very hard to kill, but whatever. Where are the grunts? Use them if you want to pile up some bodies. That's what they're there for. They managed to kill the force-healing husband, but that happens off-screen. So apparently all these dinner scenes from earlier were just there to make you feel bad when all the happy, quirky people died. But personally, I don't think I'm feeling the emotions that the writers wanted me to feel when I see this. A wraith then appears. Well, that's cool. But the blind guy blows himself up along with it. And of course, this happens off-screen. Instead of seeing that, we watch Riz peel her face off the floor. Halsey then finds Cortana, but suddenly, the evil woman appears, and, well, there she goes. I guess she has Cortana now. Apparently all the guards and staff within this prison were also holograms that just vanished along with the power outage. Seriously, this place is completely empty. And apparently these two were the only prisoners within this entire prison. Cheeks and Riz then split off from Perez.
Hey, wait. Are you just gonna go off to fight without saying anything?
Ma'am, the planet is dying. Now is not the time. Naturally, Cheeks then talks for a while with his team about how they want to suit up and go hunting instead of actually doing it.
Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
The armor's gone, Chief.
What did you say?
The armor. It's not there.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, of course his freaking armor is missing. He's John Cheeks after all. Count us lucky that he at least has pants this time. Cheeks then confronts Admiral Keyes, and Keyes is like, "Oh hey, turns out you were right about that whole alien invasion. Those numerous scenes of us arguing turned out to be a complete waste of time. So, sorry, whoopsie doodle."
Sorry, John. You were right.
By the way, here's how those same conversations happen in the game.
Colonel, this is Noble One. There are no rebels. The Covenant are on Reach. Acknowledge?
Come again, Noble One. Did you say Covenant?
Affirmative. It's the winter contingency.
May God help us all.
Wow, some things can just be easy. Who knew? Keyes then spoils the end of the story for Cheeks by telling him that they did calculations. And to know for a fact that Reach will fall, which is just so lame. It really kills the tragedy when everyone can see it coming from a million miles away. Halsey is freaking out because Cortana, the supercomputer that can save humanity, just got captured by the enemy. Naturally, she wants to do everything she can to get Cortana back, but Pirate Dude stops her because he wants to talk about their personal drama some more. Like, can you gossiping little bitches please shut up and get something done for once? My goodness. Halsey reveals to him that he was actually a great leader, so she had to cut him loose so that John Cheeks could be a great leader instead, since Pirate Boy's super soldier powers apparently didn't work right. And to me, this reads like fanfiction.
Oh, I know. I want to make a new Spartan for this show who's better than all the other Spartans, but he'll get thrown out because he's too good, and then he'll go rogue and become a pirate, because pirates are cool even though they have nothing to do with Halo. Bro, what are you doing? Move! There's an alien invasion. Go kill them.
What are your orders, sir?
Hold my hand.
What is happening?
Bring it in.
You fought with courage, you fought with heart, you fought with love for your brothers and sisters in arms. There's nothing left for any one of you to prove. You're the finest Marines I've ever seen.
Oh, people. There are aliens outside right now blowing stuff up as we speak. They're literally tossing around random civilians. Please, shut the fuck up and move. I'm going insane watching this stupid show. I need a break.
Never do it, Slim Jim!
So Keyes gives a shitty speech about how they're all going to die and lose the planet, but they'll hold out as long as they can to evacuate civilians, and everyone somehow finds this inspiring.
Any Marine who makes this stand with us will not survive the day.
He then awkwardly introduces everyone to John Cheeks.
John?
And tells the audience, I mean them, that he doesn't need his armor to fight good. And this is just so dumb on every level. Keyes talks about how they need to save every civilian they can, as if civilians aren't currently dying while they're all here standing around like pudlets. Also, they could have evacuated everybody ages ago, but instead they chose to pretend that there wasn't going to be an invasion for no reason at all. They play this emotional music over his speech, like this is meant to be motivational, but Keyes is a jackass, and everything I've seen him do makes me hate him. So why should I be moved by anything he says? You know who could actually give good speeches? Sergeant freaking Johnson.
Man, we let those dumb bugs out to the middle of nowhere to keep them from getting their filthy claws on Earth. But we stumbled onto something that's so hot for that they're scrambling over each other to get it. Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son of a bitch machine or a giant hula hoop. We're not gonna let them have it. What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Keyes then tries to get a gun and fight the good fight, but Cheeks is like, no, go home. But then Keyes pouts and is like, no, but I'm in charge.
John, I'm still getting the orders here.
Then Cheeks is like, you're such a good leader that we need you to go away now, so you don't die. And then he leaves. Then finally, they go outside to fight. But their method of fighting involves more sitting and waiting.
Hello, Jacob.
Catherine. And Soren.
Cheeks orders a tank to fire blindly into some smoke as a means to light up the dark area, and uh-oh, they reveal a bunch of surprise aliens charging right at them. Meanwhile, Keyes and Halsey share some small talk while riding the elevator. Now is a good time to point out that they have a child together, and this is what she looks like. Can't you see the resemblance? They waste a long time talking, only for Halsey to reveal that they let Cortana get stolen way at the end of the conversation. Personally, I would lead with that information, but that's just me. Even during the middle of a battle, these people still find time to sit and talk. Turns out, Keyes and the civilian transport are now under attack. So even though we had this big old goodbye scene with Keyes and Silver Team splitting up, Silver Team now has to run back to where Keyes is after fighting for like 2 minutes. Then Keyes finds an error with the civilian transport that he is about to fly, so he asks Perez, a woman he barely knows, if she can fly the ship instead. Then when she gives a vague answer to that question,
"Can you fly this thing?"
Not without you on it, sir.
he runs out into enemy fire without telling anyone where he's going. Like, dude, you are the effing pilot. Sit down and make someone else go out there, because if you die, then everyone in the ship is screwed. At the very least, tell somebody where you are going. Then everybody outside the ship dies except for Keyes, Halsey, and the pirate. And for some reason, the enemies just stand there and stare at Keyes instead of killing him and attacking the ship. They also don't attack Halsey or the pirate at all, even though she's screaming like a banshee, and they're just a couple feet away.
Jacob! Get in with me!
The real Halsey wouldn't do that, by the way. Regardless, Pirate just walks her out of the room and they leave peacefully.
Got a light?
Oh, don't give him his pipe as if you care about the source material at all. Silver Team then shows up to do nothing, while everything around the ship gets engulfed with flame somehow. The way it's shot is very awkward, so it's hard to really tell what's going on, but apparently Admiral Keyes is dead, which is just wrong. It's at least good that they distinguish him from Captain Keyes, because they are in no way the same character at all, and we are diverting super hard from the original story with this, and the way they put it together is just weird. This is all we get in terms of visuals. Apparently this was caused when the engines of the ship started, but it doesn't seem practical to design a ship that explodes on launch. Maybe I'm missing something, I don't know. By the way, why doesn't this civilian transport have any chairs at all? Not even a pilot's chair. Also, I love how Cheeks sent Keyes away for his own safety, and then Keyes was the one that ended up dying. Also, Keyes leaving was a last-minute decision, and him having Perez fly the ship was a last-second decision. So if he had stayed behind, then who was meant to fly the ship? This whole story is a clusterfuck of garbage. Silver Team then have a corny, over-choreographed breakdance fight scene.
Pop and lock and fool! They're breakdance fighting.
Then Cheeks gets shot, and this guy beheads his buddy, then goes to finish off Cheeks until this evil woman starts bitching at him again. Then Garblemouth gets involved, but gets killed via needle. You're supposed to combine a lot of needles in order for them to explode like that, but whatever, it's really sad.
Hey, watch it, buddy.
Now, I didn't entirely realize this until the following episode, but what we just saw was apparently the entire Fall of Reach storyline. Like, that's it. Reach is done. It took 1 episode. This storyline could have been multiple seasons on its own, but nah, it's already over. So I guess just fuck everything about the original story. All it turned out to be in this show was a massively bloated conspiracy plotline, and then everything exploded. And I guess we're also just gonna say fuck it to Halo 1. No Pillar of Autumn, Keyes is dead, the journey to Halo will apparently be completely unrecognizable, John Cheeks is not the only Spartan alive at this point, and he doesn't even have his armor anymore. No mention of Noble Team, just nothing at all what this was supposed to be. Calling this a Halo show is just complete false advertising. I'm so disappointed with everyone involved in making this. You all completely failed. Now I think it's pretty clear that I'm checked out at this point, but we'll keep going just to see where this story ends up. In the next episode, Cheeky Boy is recovering from his battle wounds, while his team tries to hold off their attackers. Halsey looks uncharacteristically hopeful, but then a brute chieftain appears, and has an awful fight scene, in which he just stands there and lets these people shoot him to death. Then Pirate Wife somehow finds her husband here, and saves them all. However, Riz decides to go back and epically recover the body of Garblemouth. Along the way, she taunts us with the ability to dual wield. You guys remember dual wielding? Those were fun times. Unfortunately, she gets shot in the ass and collapses to the ground as soon as she gets back to the ship. We then see a montage of goofy nonsense while Silver Team is dying. Later, the evil woman bickers with this elite, who is apparently the Arbiter, though you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at him. You see, this is a new interpretation of the Arbiter, in which he has zero agency, because Space Karen keeps nagging him every time he tries to make a decision. Mr. Cheeks then crawls around on the floor and yells at Halsey for treating Spartans like weapons and not people, while Halsey tries to comfort him and calm him down. And none of this is in character, and none of this is Halo. So skip, Evil Woman has a chat with Cortana, and Cortana can apparently just appear and walk around like a normal person, which is not correct.
Me, inside your head, now.
They argue with each other about who means more to John Cheeks, amongst other things. After several days, John Cheeks recovers from his wounds, and the crew is traveling to a small colony to get Riz better help. Apparently, they kept the body of Garblemouth on the ship the entire time, which must smell horrible at this point. Halsey helps Riz recover, the pirates try to find their son, who is apparently missing in this place, and Quan tries to get Cheeks to help her with burying Garblemouth. But he doesn't want to because Spartans don't do that sort of thing, which is odd because his last scene made it seem like he hated being a Spartan, but whatever. I guess he just wants this guy to rot in the ship forever. Riz wakes up to tell Halsey how horrible she is, and man, we are missing a lot of nuance here. In the original story, Halsey is meant to be a cold, unethical scientist who kidnapped children in order to raise them into being the perfect super soldiers, aka Spartans. Even though this is a messed up process, the Spartans don't necessarily hate Halsey because they don't necessarily know that they should. She taught them to be emotionless, mission-oriented killers who were cut off from the real world and don't know what a more ethical upbringing would look like. Moreover, she is the closest thing the Spartans have to a mother, so they tend to be more endeared towards her in spite of what she's done.
Sounded like you said Halsey.
I did.
Copy that, on our way. Don't need command to tell me. Been all hers half my life.
It's a twisted upbringing that resulted in the best soldiers humanity has ever seen, and they get deployed right at the dawn of a great alien war, one that leaves little time for personal reflection. If there were ever a time for Spartans to resent her, it would be during times of peace, when there is no war, and when they would have to learn to be normal again. But in this show, the Spartans are already at the point where anytime Halsey shows up, they talk all kinds of shit to her and cry and pout, being fully aware of her evil deeds, while at the same time being completely loyal and still following the orders and conduct that is expected of them. They are putting end-of-the-story character arcs at the beginning, in a time period where they don't entirely make sense with what the characters want versus what they actually do. As the show goes on, Quan tries to bury Garblemouth, but these random red people want to burn him instead for some reason, so they let them. But Cheeks gets sad. The pirates discovered that these lesbians have their son, so they try to get him back. Her hair changed at some point. John Cheeks dresses like a goon, and they have a funeral for Garblemouth. Not sure why they couldn't just have this funeral without the creepy red people forcing them into it, but whatever. Halsey implies that there is something within John Cheeks that will help them to find Halo, which is just a big, confusing, and ultimately disappointing can of worms to hear. Suddenly, the shaman priest person reappears and asks Quan to join her cause. She is apparently just appearing as a ghost though, and is not actually there. And you know what? On that note, I think I'm done. I don't even want to try to understand what's going on with this. I don't know what this is, and I really don't care. This story is nowhere close to the source material that it is pulling from. It is a completely different story with completely different characters that just steals the names and art style of a better story because that's the only way they could trick anyone into watching this nonsense. It's such a waste of time. I don't care what happens next. I don't care if these videos I make get millions of views. I'm not watching another second of this wretched show. It is not a Halo show in any way. I think this is the angriest I've ever gotten while watching something because these people that made this were so proud and had the audacity to make all these big proclamations and talk all kinds of crap while producing the most boring, most unlikable piece of bullshit I've ever seen. Between all the terrible Marvel shows and movies and Star Wars shows and movies and all the other terrible remakes in between, you would think that this stuff couldn't get any worse. But time and time again, they always somehow manage to lower the bar. I'm so done, man. Unbelievable.